mean?
Damn, Triple
Because
OG.
been 3
obviously
years.
you ain't going to court because you was going to court.
Triple
Every
OG.
time you go to court, they gonna let us know you going to court. So
I can't go to court for immigration if I got an open
nah,
gun
what
case,
about
fool.
the gun case? Bullshit.
I can't go to court for immigration if I got
They
an
will
open
give
gun
you
case,
your
gang.
time.
Yeah, after you got that message, after you got the message, you hit up Big U's wife. You said, "Sis, 911. One sec, let me get solo." And you gave him a heads up.
Wack 100 had been yelling snitch at the top of his lungs for years. But now, a leaked wiretap just hit the internet, and it's got everybody bringing up that old 2005 Fed gun case again. And guess who's tied to the leak? None other than 21 Savage. And now picture this. Dude talks nonstop, always pointing fingers, calling people rats. Then boom. Out of nowhere, folks say he's flashing a badge behind the scenes. Even if it was just for a split second, that little flash might have blown up his whole image. But here's where it gets wild. Real wild. Word on the street is 21 Savage didn't just pass the video around. Folks say he's the one who leaked it, and not by accident either. They're saying he held on to it, just waiting for the perfect moment to drop it. Can you blame him, though?
I Kodak told him that though.
Because his statement is
Wack's been trashing his name for years, calling him a snitch, saying he worked with ICE to stay in the country, even dragging him into the whole YSL drama. But 21, he mostly kept it cool, dropped a few comments and let it slide. But if 21 really leaked that tape, that wasn't petty. It was straight up chess. After years of Wack sneak dissing him on Clubhouse, he finally clapped back without even opening his mouth, like he'd been holding it in, just waiting for the right move to flip the board. And if you really line everything up, the way Wack always points fingers, stirs drama, calls people out, it starts looking like a distraction. Like he's been throwing shade just to keep eyes off himself. And get this, it's not even the first time folks tied Wack to the feds. A few months back, reports popped off saying Big U got hit with RICO charges. But before Big U even turned himself in, he went live on video and straight up called out Wack 100, saying he was working with the FBI. Wild, right? Now here's where things started feeling real suspicious. Before the RICO charges hit the news, before the arrests, before any paperwork dropped, Wack already knew. He hit up Big U's wife, sent a message that basically said, 911, he needs to leave.
I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and this internet stuff.
That's not just a heads up. That sounds like a setup in disguise. Like, how'd he know the raid was about to go down unless he was in on it? Wack made that call before Big U even got cuffed. Come on now. And here's the crazy part. After Big U got booked, Wack jumped online talking reckless. Tried flipping the whole thing on Big U, claiming he was the one moving shady, even saying he had a BlackBerry phone he used to talk to the feds. But instead of clearing anything up, all that talk just made people more suspicious. Like, seriously? How is Wack always the first one to know what's about to go down? Always in the mix, but somehow never the one getting hit?
Yeah, after you got that message, after you got the message, you hit up Big U's wife. You said, "Sis, 911. One sec, let me get solo." And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, "One sec, let me get solo. He needs to leave. Bad." In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said so bad, right?
That call to Big U's wife didn't feel like a favor. It felt like someone trying to play both sides, warning the same guy he just helped set up, staying close to the fire without catching a single burn. That's when folks really started giving Wack the side eye. Like maybe he's not the so-called watchdog he wants to be seen as. Maybe he's something else entirely. But all this chaos going on now, it actually traces way back to a moment in 2005. Word is, Wack 100 and his brother got pulled over in Texas. Nothing too crazy at first, just a speeding stop. Cops come up, ask the usual, and Wack says they're headed to a funeral in Oklahoma. But when they asked to search the car, Wack said no. So they brought in the K9 unit, and boom, the dog sniffed out a shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol, all loaded. And here's the part that's got everybody talking. Wack and his brother were already convicted felons. That's straight up federal time, no questions asked.
Do it. I said, yeah, I don't know nothing about this. He said, man, y'all too tight. I see Big U signature. I see other signatures. I'm reading it. And what shook me was the police issued device to communicate with law enforcement in form of a BlackBerry.
You don't just skate from a case like that. Most folks would have been locked down. No music career, no second chance. But Wack, he somehow made bail and slid back to LA like nothing even happened. Then, silence. 2 whole years passed. No court updates, no headlines, until out of nowhere, the case just disappeared, dismissed. And not because of weak evidence or a legal mess-up. The court straight up said it was dropped in the interest of justice. Now hold up. If you know how the system really works, especially when it comes to felons caught with loaded guns, you already know that phrase don't just pop up for no reason. That's not a kindness. That usually means somebody handed something over, something the feds wanted. Wack later tried to flip the story, saying the search was illegal, but that was all cap.
Use some time, I don't know, 24 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, I don't know. I'm gonna give you some time though, Gunner, for you to go ahead on and confess.
The court docs were public, and there was zero mention of bad procedure. Just a clean, quiet dismissal, like someone made sure it all vanished. And the timing? That's the part that really haunts this whole story. Just a couple years after Wack walked free, Suge Knight, his old boss at death row, started catching heat from the feds. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Suge got hit with a gang injunction, and his whole circle started falling apart. Wiretaps, raids, names and paperwork, but Wack, nowhere to be found. Not even mentioned once. Then the Main Street Crips got tied to that wild kidnapping case connected to Shaq. And in the transcripts, some dude named Back kept popping up, making calls, leaving voicemails, and folks been saying for years that Back was really Wack 100. Now jump to present day. This same guy is online every other day, pointing fingers at Gunna, BG, Brick Baby, 21 Savage, even Jay Diggs, acting like he's the moral compass of the streets. But let's be real, something ain't adding up. That 2005 arrest? It doesn't match the clean-cut image he's pushing now. You don't just walk away from a federal gun charge with 3 illegal weapons in your trunk as a convicted felon, unless you're either insanely lucky or you gave something up behind closed doors. So when folks saw that police ID flash in that new video, nearly 20 years later, it wasn't just the badge that got people talking. It brought everything back. Not just old beefs, but that one question nobody's been able to shake since his case mysteriously disappeared. What did he trade to walk away so clean? See, Wack built his whole image off one word, snitch. That's his go-to insult. Every time a rapper gets locked up or cuts a plea deal, Wack jumps on Clubhouse yelling they folded. He did it with Gunna. Said he had a 2-hour interrogation tape and even threatened to leak it if Gunna didn't admit to snitching. But guess what? He never dropped the tape, just kept running his mouth. Then he came for BG too. Yeah, the same BG who already served over a decade inside. Claimed he snitched, but there was no paperwork, nothing to back it up. Even BG's old cellmate stepped up and said, BG held it down and never folded. But did Wack care? Nope. He just kept talking like he had facts. He kept running his mouth, with 0 receipts. And yeah, on the surface, it might fool a few people. Folks who don't look too deep might think Wack's got some kind of code or moral compass. But the ones really paying attention, they started seeing the pattern. Wack gets the loudest right when he's trying to deflect. Every time pressure's on him, he suddenly starts pointing at someone else. And the craziest part? This man records everybody. Like, who does that? That's not how real ones move. You don't record every convo unless you're planning to use it or pass it off to somebody. And now folks are waking up to it because some of the same rappers Wack brought onto Clubhouse, they ended up catching cases later. Like Loose Cannon, went on there, talked way too much, and sure enough, got jammed up not long after. Now people are starting to ask the real questions. Was Wack setting folks up to talk reckless on purpose? Was he making those Clubhouse clips go viral just so prosecutors could swoop in and do the rest? It's all starting to feel way too calculated. From how he baits people into heated arguments, to how these leaks just happen to drop when it plays in his favor. Sure, not everything's hard proof, but that pattern, it's getting too loud to ignore. At some point, you gotta pause and really look at how it's all connected. That leaked badge video might have sparked the fire, but this didn't come out of nowhere. It's been brewing since that 2005 gun case vanished with no trace. From him knowing about that RICO case before the feds even made a move, to those sketchy wiretap mentions, to the badge flash, to all the convos he keeps recording. It ain't just messy, it's looking straight up orchestrated. And the deeper folks dig into the timeline, the more it feels like Wack been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Because if everyone he accuses of snitching was really doing dirt, where's the paperwork? But somehow, he's always around when cases disappear, or people suddenly walk free. Exposed? Or did the feds already know too much, and he's been part of it all along? That's what makes this different. It ain't just about proving if Wack's a fed. It's about facing what it means if he really is. What does it say about the stories we've been buying into? About the people we hand mics and platforms to, thinking they're solid? Yeah, folks used to joke about it online, but it's not funny anymore. Not when real lives, real freedom, and real legacies are getting wrecked behind this kind of setup game. Wack's been the one yelling snitch at everybody else, but now the streets are watching him, wondering if the loudest voice in the room been wired from the jump. Because if that's true, this whole game been flipped and faked for years, and nobody saw it coming. And the wildest part, he ain't gone quiet. He's still out here talking loud. And whatever he says next might just be the piece that blows this whole thing wide open. If you're feeling this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, because you won't want to miss what comes next.